Hey everyone, this is Carrie, and I'm just going to wait a minute or two for Laura to join us. And I tried to get on a couple minutes early tonight so that we can have this ready to go so that we can start on time, hopefully. So it appears, fingers crossed, that technology is choosing to work. So we're just going to hang out here a couple minutes and get Laura on board with us, and then we are going to have a fun night talking about apraxia, and we're going to be talking about toys that Laura and I really appreciate for encouraging repetitive speech practice. So tonight will be part 2. We did this same theme last Thursday night, and we didn't get through very many toys because Laura and I like to talk. If this is your first time with us, we love to talk, especially about apraxia. We talk very fast. Let me see if Laura is here or not yet. Let me see. Laura. Don't see Laura yet. Ooh, let me see. Is that Laura? No, it's a different Laura. All right. Let me see here. Okay, Laura, as soon as you are here, let me know, and I will, let me see, and I will join. Oh, somebody said use the muffin tin, the rainbow ooh card today with my toddler. Success! Woo, woo, I love it so much. Oh, there she is. All right, Laura, let me add you. Okay. It just takes a second to update. So I hope you guys are having a great week. Laura and I haven't really talked this week. It's been kind of a crazy week. I don't know, at least for me. So we'll have to see what Laura's been up to. Let me see if I can add her yet. Yeah, technology's just kind of slow. Okay. Laura, I made it so you can request to join if it lets you, because I'm not seeing your name yet in the list. I think it just takes time. I just have to be patient. So hi Nora, hi Abby. Oh, there we go. There's Laura. She wants to be in my video. Approved. Be joining us. Let's see. Is she coming? Is she coming? Any second now, Laura's going to be here. I just know it. I just know it. There she is.
There I am. Woo, sunny morning in Hong Kong. Melinda Sturgis.
Well, welcome from Hong Kong. How awesome is this? Let me just turn my volume up so I can hear Miss Laura. That's great. That is fabulous. Let me scoot this back so I don't cut my own head off here. All right. Laura and I are figuring out how to do this using our phones, our mobile devices.
And I'm just going to share to my page like I always do. So
yes.
Just bear with me while I do that real quick.
You betcha. I'll just have a sip of wine. All right.
There you go.
So this is my birthday glass, 1971. I'm 50 this year. So
love it.
I am old, officially old, according to my son.
No, you are aged beautifully.
You're only as old as you feel. Is that right?
It's so true.
Yeah, I don't feel 50. I don't even know that I feel 40, but it's all good. It's all good.
I'm actually 40 this year. I turned 40 in November. I'll be 41 this November. But yeah, I just I still I'm like, wait, how old am I? Like, there's no way I can be 40.
I know. Oh, there's our friend from Greece.
Hi. Yay. Hi, friend.
Yay. This is so exciting. So much fun. So I was telling him, Laura, before you hopped on, that we're kind of continuing from last week where we were talking about our favorite toys for repetitive speech practice. Is that right?
Yes. I posted on my page, everyone come and join us tonight as we play with a purpose.
There we go. I love it.
I think I need a wine
Laura,
glass that says that. I'm back to my Laura one.
Can I show you my new t-shirt? I have to show you my new t-shirt, okay?
Neurodiversity makes, it's like backwards, makes the world a brighter place.
Yes.
Oh, and it's got the infinity.
Isn't that? Yes.
Will you talk about the infinity for a minute and why the autism community is moving toward it? I know this page is about apraxia, but we are neurodiverse friends.
We are. And for those of you who don't know, my son is autistic. So I have a 16-year-old son, Aaron, and I do, like to share about him on my social media page and our journey. but he is autistic and he has other diagnoses of apraxia and sensory processing disorder. But so yeah, I've done a lot of listening this past year during the pandemic to the autistic community, and specifically to, you know, autistic adults, and moving away from the puzzle piece to represent autism. And I did a whole blog post on it. And so really what the autistic community is moving to is the infinity symbol, because well, there's lots of reasons why. We don't need to get into all of it, but the puzzle piece kind of indicates that autistic individuals are confusing, they're a puzzle to be solved, that there's some missing piece and that we're trying to cure or fix them. And that is not consistent with the neurodiversity movement, which says autistic people have a different a neurotype. They are wired differently. And so we need to learn to accept and celebrate autistic individuals for who they are, instead of trying to change them and as though there's some missing link to the puzzle. So it's just, yeah, I could talk all day about autism and everything that I've learned recently. So while I used to support use of the puzzle piece, when you know better, you do better, right? So I just had new t-shirts made that really highlight, you know, that we are celebrating differences, not condemning them or trying to change them. I mean, obviously we still want you know, people who have challenges to be able to receive appropriate support so that they can, you know, become the best version of themselves that they can be, but we're no longer trying to change or fix them. So,
you know, just a caveat to that, you might not know this, but I talk about it a lot, is when Ashlyn was first getting all of her diagnoses, had I just gotten that genetic diagnosis first, my life would have been so much easier. But I wouldn't have a book and I wouldn't have the struggle, and so here we are. But yeah, I think the most it actually made me angry is that many professionals called her a puzzle. Now they weren't referring to autism, but really it was offensive to me. And you know, a lot of parents, I've had other parents say that didn't offend them. To me it did, especially after I knew what was wrong with her, especially after I knew terms like developmental coordination disorder and terms like oral apraxia, you know, that we aren't necessarily taught with verbal apraxia. Like once I knew dystonic cerebral palsy, once I knew all of this, I was even more mad, because I was like, she legit isn't a puzzle. Like a puzzle is something you might never figure out. I mean, a puzzle is something you're like confused by, like, whoa, we really got to dive in here and take some time and see what's going on. And it annoyed me that professionals thought she was a puzzle. Like I gripe about it all the time, which is kind of silly. But autism community even more so, like it falls into, like you just said, it's just a different way of being a human. It's a different, I follow this girl on TikTok that I love, and she has autism, and she calls it a different operating system. It doesn't mean one is better than the other. It's a different way of thinking, and it's not a puzzle.
No, it's not. So yeah, I think that when we talk about neurodiversity, we have to understand that autism, you know, is one type of neurodiversity, but so is ADHD and apraxia. And, you know, there are lots of different ways to be, you know, there's different neurotypes out there is the point. And so anyways. Oh, sorry.
Nope, that was me. I was turning on my computer to read the comments, so you heard the feedback. Keep going.
Oh, gotcha. Are we good?
Yeah.
Are we good? Okay, so in case you didn't join us last week, we were talking about, we had made some free handouts. They're available on my website. We're not necessarily only talking about toys on these lists, because Laura and I, do you have all your toys ready, Laura?
I am surrounded, girlfriend.
Excellent. Hey, before we start, I have to have all of our viewers, everybody put your wine down for a minute. Laura, you're going to do this because you're going to be online because I can't see everybody else. And I am going to show you the coolest thing to understand what motor planning is, right, Laura? We talk about how CAS is a motor planning disorder, right? And so we always talk about, well, what is motor planning? And it's kind of this abstract concept. And it's where the brain is going to tell the body what to do, what movements to make. So here's what I want everybody to do. You're going to get both hands up, okay, Laura, so we can see them on the screen, because I want you to do this. You're going to put one thumb up, doesn't matter which one, and the other one you're going to put your finger out on your other hand, okay? So it's going to be like this. And then when I say go, you're going to switch.
Okay.
Does that make sense? You're good. Okay, ready, set, go. Now back. Go. Faster. Go. Faster. Oh, Laura,
Laura, you're pretty good at it. But you can see the very first time I did it, I was like,
oh no, I was
struggling.
Like, there was pauses.
Yeah, and so I want you guys to try this. And if you're ever trying to explain to grandparents or to your nanny or to your neighbor what motor planning is, it's this idea of being able to do a new movement, something that you've never practiced before, and to do it rapidly and accurately. And once you practice it, like I've been practicing it all afternoon now, so I'm pretty good at it for like 3 or 4 trials, and then I kind of fall apart. But I just thought that's kind of a good way to, you know, explain what we mean by apraxia, you know, which is difficulty with the brain planning the movements to tell the body what to do.
Oh, so, I have one. You're getting it back on you. You didn't know this, but I can pull this out too, girl. Before I do that, everyone, if you find value in these episodes, we would love it if you would just share with your friends or share to a group or share with people you think would benefit. This series to me is actually the most practical. I feel like SLPs and parents would love this particular episode because Carrie and I really are using just real toys and telling you legit what we would do with them in therapy and how. So that would be so awesome, you guys. But anyway, okay. Now here's the one that's going to go to Carrie. Okay, Carrie, and everyone out there, put your glasses down and you're going to go like this. All right, so I am going to give you a direction. We have our fingers are labeled, right? You have your pointer finger, your middle finger, your index or ring finger, and your pinky finger. So those are the directions. So you're going to go like this. I want you to raise your right index finger, pointer finger. Good, put it down. Left pinky finger. Right pinky finger.
Right pinky finger.
Right index finger. Left middle finger. You're falling behind.
I know. Yeah, and if you were to go faster, I wouldn't be able to keep up.
Yes, and so what that demonstrates is that when we're teaching motor planning, we need to slow down. We need to allow wait time. We want to give visual or verbal cues. In this case, I was giving verbal cues on what each finger was labeled, and we are knowing our left from right, which is going to be hard for kids a lot of times with apraxia. But yeah, same type of idea.
Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Okay. Hello, Jackie from Minnesota. Welcome. We're so glad you're here. Okay, Laura, do you want to go first and pull out a toy? And we're just going to share with you what our toy is and how we use it for repetitive speech practice. While Laura gets it ready, what I want to say is that there's probably nothing more boring in the world than repetitive speech practice. Like if I just told you I need you to say a word 30 times in a row, it's kind of like watching paint dry. It's not exciting. So what we want to do, we know that one of the principles of motor learning is pre-practice and motivation. We want to make sure the child is motivated to practice these speech targets. So that is why we like to use toys. We like to use activities that are relevant and meaningful to the child. So what do you have for us, Laura?
Okay, so I have this. This is a clinic favorite. It is the Melissa and Doug cookie set. If you guys aren't familiar with a lot of the Melissa and Doug food items, basically it's fun because, yep, there it is on our infographic there. Perfect. And basically what's fun about it, what every kid loves is you actually, well, for one, it promotes pretend play, which is awesome. It doesn't make noise. If you caught us last week, you know that ideally we love toys that don't make noise. We make our own noise. And it comes with a knife. So kids get to use a play knife and, you know, they can, and you might have to guide them because a lot of times kids with apraxia have motor planning issues in other parts of the body, as we always mention, but then they get to cut. And so it's super fun. But then how do we attach speech to this, right? So how we're going to do it is it comes in a little tube, like in the grocery store when you get your cookie tubes. And when you pull off the top, which I already pulled off and now lost somewhere, a lot of times I might say open. We're going to dump it out. Out might be a target that I'm going to be using, a functional target, a VC target for kids with apraxia. I can make this as slow and painful as a process as I want, or nice and fast. So I can dump the whole tube out at once, or I can take it piecemeal and like, yeah, we're going to dump it and keep getting all of those repetitions as we do it. Then you cut it. And cuts, you know, is not typically, if you've caught our other lives about early warning indicators of apraxia, K's and G's, which are called velars, are not a lot of times there. So I wouldn't do cut, but definitely we have the pan. And so then you're able to get lots of practice of potentially a functional word like on, another good VC word. So I'm on, and it's Velcro too. So you stick it on. Look at how many trials we have for practice here with that. If on they already have, I might expand it. I might do put on. And if I'm doing co-articulation, I might do put it on every single time. What are you going to do? You're going to put it on. Good. What are you going to do? You're going to put it on. So back and forth, so on and so forth. And it's just super fun. It does come with an oven mitt, which they also like, kind of emulates real life. So we can put our oven mitt on, and hot, like, ooh, don't touch it. It's hot. Ow, you touched it. So many, it's just so versatile. And boys and girls both love this because they both, all of them like to cook with their parents and bake with their parents. The other thing it does have too is this frosting. They come with different frosting. So, you could also have them choose which frosting that they want. So, this or that, or want, or
you could do yum.
Oh,
yum,
yeah,
because
exactly.
the frosting is sweet. Yum.
Good one.
So for your kids trying to get the bilabials,
yeah, that's a great one.
Yummy. And if you're working on nonverbal imitation, you could rub your tongue.
Yeah.
Yep. So
yeah, it's a super fun toy. I so love it. Definitely a fan favorite in my clinic.
And something that is kind of similar to that, and I didn't think to grab it because I have far too many favorite toys, but it's Velcro food.
Velcro food. You brought it out last week, and yes.
Yeah. Oh, good.
Yeah, the Velcro food they have. Yeah, exactly. The vegetables,
and the fruits.
Kids love it. They love doing it.
Love it. Like, and the more pieces you have, and I like to set up a picnic, like, have a picnic and get your stuffed animals, and then we can eat all the food. So yeah, that's fabulous. Love it.
Oh, that just reminds me, another thing I've done with this is, like, I always have families in session with me, and you obviously do because you're an in-home speech therapist, but in my clinic I always have families. So then, you can play like a little tea party with the cookies, and it would be like, who are we going to give this to? Are we going to give it to mama or dada, or who wants the cookie, and have them say me, and then eat. Fabulous. So many ideas.
Yeah, and even just for children who might be at the 2-syllable word, you can do cookie, because again, you have 12 or 15 cookies, whatever it is, and then you can do cookie or eat cookie. So you can keep expanding the language depending on where the child is at with their motor speech planning skills. So it's very, very versatile and just a fabulous toy. So thanks for sharing. That was awesome.
All right, what you got?
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and stick with the eating theme because I have several toys. And if I did these last week, will you tell me, did I talk about this? Oh, I already did. No, I didn't.
No.
Okay, so this is, I don't know, it's called a nubby bowl. It's like for toddlers because you can put your hand in it and so the Cheerios don't spill all over. But I don't use it to eat. I use it as a toy because he's a monster and he says, "Rawr." Right. But so what we can do then is I have little mini pieces of food so he can nom, 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 for my toddlers. Or if you're working on a vowel consonant, a VC syllable shape, it can be eat. Right. So I just gather all these little pieces of food, and it may not seem very exciting as an adult, but I'm just going to tell you right now, little kids think this is the coolest thing ever. And then they have to reach in and take them out. Take them out. So this is just a little $6. It's a bowl. Like I say, it's called the Nubby, N-U-B-Y, the Nubby bowl. And doesn't that look like a mouth? I mean, it couldn't be any cuter. And he's got 3 eyes, which is so silly. Yeah. Right. So there's lots of things. So that's one thing I like to feed so that we can do that. This is from IKEA. I don't know if any of you have an IKEA around.
I do, but I don't know that.
It's a little food bowl. And so you're supposed to, it'll store food in it. But it's a mouth. So you notice I keep all my little food in here. This is a little bit bigger food. And again, I don't know why, but kids love to feed things to, animals. So he can, yum, 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 yum. And, when you close his ears down, they're going to snap.
Love it.
And so we can do, snap or open. So anyways, that's another thing I like to feed. And then I have 2 more crazy things. This is a tennis ball.
I love these too. I have this too.
Yeah, and I just glue googly eyes to him. And then I have all of my millions of mini erasers, and this is the best thing there. You buy these at Target, Dollar Spot. So I've got about 50 apples. So that's a lot of eat. Your OTs, if your child is in occupational therapy, is going to be very happy because this is building finger strength as you squeeze. And if you're working with an older child, squeeze can be, you know, it's a more complex word, but squeeze or open and then eat or in. And then you can do, you know, here's yellow apple, red apple, eat yellow apple, eat red apple.
It's great.
And there's green apples too. So this is where, you know, we're going to kind of challenge the speech motor planning system by changing maybe one word of the phrase, you know, eat yellow apple, eat green apple, depending on which one they get. So, and then there's pizza and tacos, and these are mushrooms. So I have about probably 50 different kinds of mini erasers to feed my tennis ball, right? So it can be anything from eat or just sound effects with your toddlers. Nom, 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 nom. We just, with our very young, minimally verbal children with suspected apraxia, sometimes what we have to do is get them to just start taking risks with their voice.
Exactly.
All I want you to do is open your mouth and turn your motor on. So that's why I'm a big proponent of sound effects for very young children. Nom, 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 nom. So there's that. And then the last one I'll show you, I did a post on this on social media and we about broke the internet because everybody, this sold out everywhere. Amazon sold out in like 15 minutes. And then somebody found a surf shop that sold this shark because it's a sand pail. Do you see him? He's a shark, right? But is he not the most adorable thing? And with these big teeth, ow, right? So I mean, I love that. But then again, I just keep a bag of food. And again, this is a little bit larger food. So we just feed the shark, and whether it's eat or, and I have lots of books about sharks that I will pair. I love to pair literacy with talking tasks as well. So I would just encourage you, whether you're an SLP or whether you're a parent or a grandparent or an early childhood teacher, is to really think about what can we feed, because little kids get that, right? That idea of let's feed the animals, or let's feed the monster, or let's feed the puppy. So anyways, things that you can feed, I guess, was that theme of toy that I love very, very much.
Yeah. And you know, like for people who are watching who feel like, okay, I can't spend all my money and buy everything you're talking about. I've done this, like there are so many different ideas of things you can feed. I don't have them here because I was doing specifically toys, but I've made it like, if you guys have a plastic diaper wipe box, yeah, go ahead, Carrie. You can decorate that box and make it into a monster. Put googly eyes on the front. Yeah, there you go. Exactly like what she's pulling. And you can like put little googly eyes on the front. It's similar to that Nubby bowl that she was talking about, because the diaper wipes, you know, have like the soft rubber, and then you can just feed them too and take it out and feed it and take it out. Yeah, I've done it that way. The other thing I have in my office that's really fun is I got a shoebox, like a big shoebox for my husband, and then we cut a mouth, and then I put like the old lady, like you can find them on Teachers Pay Teachers and things like that, and you can put like the mouth of the woman on, or the face, and I decorated in tissue paper like around the shoebox so you don't see the shoebox, and then we feed the old lady in that hole, and we're like, ah, you know, and we feed her all the items from the book that we just read, so, or while we're reading it.
I went to my toy storage room and I didn't want to spend too much time in there, but if you, for your dishwasher, you know, you buy a tub like at Costco with the little pods you throw in your dishwasher, and it like the Cascade, and it's like a box and it flips up. Usually you recycle it. That's a mouth.
Totally.
So you can open, okay, but like this is a
there you go.
Garbage can. And again, I'm just a big fan of googly eyes.
You slap those things on anything, you guys.
Yeah. And so now you can feed the garbage can, right? So these are, I find a lot of things just at Target dollar spot, but I would just encourage you to look around in your recycling bin. I wouldn't recycle much. Pretty much everything that can be recycled can be a toy. So
yeah. You know, you have done so many posts on that too. It's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. What's your next one you want to share?
Well, I'll keep on the food theme since we're on it for right now. Where is it? Hold on. I literally pulled them all out right by me. Oh, here it is. Okay. All right. This is a game. So this is Pop the Pig. Really popular with a lot of speech therapists and myself included. So many things you can do with this game. Again, like Carrie said, you guys, like kids just love feeding stuff. They just do. They get it. It makes sense. That's what they know that, you know, their whole life. So basically, you can play it as a game. I tend not to unless I have my older kids, like kinder and up. But if I'm just dealing with toddlers, also be careful. I have a story, like the pieces can be small. So, I mean, if you have a toddler who's going to put things in their mouth, this is not the game for them. But if they don't, then I love getting things out of them, like my turn, your turn. You can match colors. You can do words like same. Some of my kids have an S, like, ooh, same. And then you feed him. And the other thing I like is that you push down, like how many, like there's a number on the back of each hamburger. You can choose to play that way or not. So you can choose to say we're going to do 4 pushes. You can just feed him and do a push. And then you have eat. You might have push. You might have down because you have to push down his head. Down, down, pushing down his head. And then his tummy gets bigger. So as you push down his head, tummy is another nice 2-syllable word. Tummy. What's getting bigger? Tummy. Like Carrie said, num, 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 yum, yum, and then big, you know, and then eventually he will pop. And what did he do? Oh my gosh, he went pop. So, yeah, lots of stuff to do with this toy. I love it.
Excellent. I'll just stick with the game theme then.
Yeah, I love that one. That's a favorite.
Wonderful game. And what I love so much is, again, no batteries, but I startle easily. And so you get all of these swords that come with this, and you actually push the pirate down, and then you and the child take turn putting swords into the barrel, and you never know which one, but one of them will shoot that pirate like 5 feet in the air. Speech therapist screams, child dies laughing, and they want to do it over and over. So what I usually do is we'll take turns putting the swords in, but this is a great game for maybe you want to work on the child saying his own name, you know, or her own name. And so you can attach, you don't always have to make the target word related to the game, like in or on or pop.
Yeah,
it could be the child's name. It could be Joey, or it could be, you know, and maybe they're working on saying mama, you know, so every time we put one in, mama, you know, mama.
Yeah.
So just know that target words don't always have to be related to the game. They can be related to your functional targets that you're trying to address. So that's one game. And since we're talking about games, I mean, I have so many. We could do just a post on, or I mean, an episode on games. But for my little ones, Uno Moo is a fabulous game. And I have no idea what the rules are. I have no idea how to play it. But you get all of these animals. And so you can do your sound effects because there's cow and there's sheep and there's pig and there's chicken. So there's 4. But the way I love to play this with toddlers is after we've, you know, done a bunch of sound effects is we put, so they're all on the table, we put them in here and then see the little thing. We go, night-night. Oops. You shoot them in there, but you say either bye-bye or night-night.
That's cute.
Night-night. Night-night. So since there's 40 or 50 little animals,
wow,
that's a lot of repetitions of bye-bye or night-night. The key is you want it to be the same phrase over, or the same target over and over. So don't intermix bye-bye and night-night early on. You know, if you're dealing with toddlers, with new talkers, we want it to kind of be real, you know, again, later on we can vary it, and that would be good for motor learning. But so Uno Moo is another great game that, again, don't worry about what the rules are. Play it so that the child is engaged and happy and eager to participate.
That reminds me, I don't know, you have your whole toy storage. It's in my office, but are you familiar with the Little People barn? Like, and it has the chicken up top that swipes back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
That chicken, if you put an animal on either side, they fall down to the left or the right. So if you have that Little People barn, it's just like Carrie said, put an animal in there, night-night, bye-bye. Oh, they love it because the animals crash. Kids love making things crash, like, uh-oh, you know, and it's super fun. It just reminded me of that. I did not bring it, but that's another way you can do that. I love it.
I love it. And I just saw somebody say, oh my gosh, I'm buying Uno Moo right now. If you happen to have my Silly Sounds cards, they're going to pair beautifully as the visual cue, because, you know, the Silly Sounds cards, there's a moo and there's a neigh and there's a skunk in here, and that's PU. And one of my sets of cards has PU. Woo, P-U.
I love it.
So if you have my Silly Sounds cards, Uno Moo is a wonderful game to pair because it's all about sound effects. Okay?
Yeah, I love that.
Okay, so let me make sure. I don't think I grabbed any more games. So do you have any more games?
I actually do. Let me just showcase a few of them and we'll move on from games. This one is a favorite in my office. This is called Honey Bee Tree. I love it. Bee is a nice CV word. Honey, Yep. Oh, good. We do have it on here. I know. I've tried to pick stuff. You guys, if you don't know, I'm still telehealth right now in Colorado. And so all of my toys and all of my games are sadly in storage. Not all of them, but most of them. So I tried to make sure I grabbed everything that I showcased on that infographic. But anyways, essentially you set it up and kids just take turns. I'm actually not going to show you with the actual toy. I'll just show you the picture. It won't take too long. But essentially what you do is they do come with these little leaf sticks and you put them through the hole. And the setup is almost brilliant for getting more reps because the setup takes longer than the actual game itself. I'm not even kidding. Have you ever played this game?
It's like Kerplunk.
Yeah, it is like Kerplunk. If you guys have Kerplunk, a little bit easier for our kids because the leaf makes it stop, where Kerplunk, those sticks can go all the way through. But yeah, so essentially lots of stuff you can get here. Like Carrie said, don't think about it having to relate to the game either. Like I've definitely had kids just say their words like, hey, you know that these are our target words and we're going to practice this. Or have people who are playing like mommy, daddy, my turn, me, whose turn is it, me. But other things I do with this is I've done this with older kids with L because we can put in the leaf or green leaf and just make sure we're maintaining that L articulatory accuracy, probably something you're rarely working on in early intervention for L.
Right.
But we are in older kids, and then you pull out the leaves and the bees come down, and so then it's like, uh-oh, they fell down, and you can get lots of practice with that. So super fun game.
Absolutely.
Kids love it. Yeah.
Very good. All right, the last game I'll share with you, because I don't think I pulled any more, and this isn't really a game, but do you guys know Barrel of Monkeys?
Yep.
So obviously, I'm all about anything that has multiple identical pieces. That's kind of my rule of thumb, because what I want, here's why. The number of identical pieces that you have equals the potential number of speech repetitions. So if there's 15 monkeys, that's 15 potential, repetitions. I keep a shower ring. I know this sounds weird, in my Barrel of Monkeys because I need something to hang them from. Like sometimes you don't know what to start hanging them from. So again, whether you're doing monkey, monkey up or whatever, maybe it's monkey, or maybe again you're picking another word. You can do on or monkey on or my turn. But again, there's so many monkeys. It's wonderful for visual motor and for fine motor planning. So if you just keep a shower ring in there, I've just found that's
cool. I like that shower ring idea.
Yeah, it gives you somewhere to start. I don't know if the toddler version is still available. I've had toys. I've been in a pediatric SLP for 20 years. But this is the play school, my first Barrel of Monkeys. So since I work primarily with toddlers, look at the difference in the size. So do you see how, and these all have a number on it.
Yeah.
But in their different colors, which is going to lend itself to 2-word phrases: green monkey, blue monkey, yellow monkey, so you can do things like that. So again, I would still, I like to put a shower ring in there. I'm always trying to make things, a little bit easier to begin and to start. But so Barrel of Monkeys is a wonderful, fairly inexpensive game that a lot of people maybe have and are like, we don't ever play it.
Totally.
We don't ever use it. So Barrel of Monkeys.
There's a game like that similar. I do have it here, but I'm not going to go grab it, called Hanging Monkeys, or I think that,
I know what you're talking about.
and it comes with a tree, and the tree actually is designed for you to put the monkeys, like, to hang them from, and then they fall into the crocodiles, and don't let the crocodiles eat them. No, eat, don't.
Right. I've seen that game.
So it can be really fun. Here's my last game to showcase, though. Ned's Head. I think. Do you know Ned's Head, Carrie? Yay! Yes. Oh my gosh, you guys, this looks so disgusting, right? Like, I held off for so long buying this game because it just seems unappealing, quite frankly. Right. You can go through their nose, you can go through his ear, and it's designed to be gross. Kids, I've had love it. I've had one kid who was like, no, like, get that thing away from me. I can't ever see that again. But it's only been one in my whole practice. And what I love about Ned's Head is that you can put anything in here. You don't need to play the game the way it was designed. You don't need to play with the alien that's in the game. Yep, I bet Carrie's got all of her different, exactly. There, you have like a shark. Perfect. Boot. You can design what you put in here. Perfect. Yep. Chair, sit on. Love it. Ball. Exactly.
Yep.
So, this is just so versatile because you literally can put anything in here, and then kids just love going through the ears and the nose, and like, You can even, if you don't want to, if you don't have anything to put in there, it can even just be ew, you know, like Carrie said, just trying to get them to be communication risk takers and be vocal. It has value. And when they're distracted by pretending to go into someone's ear or nose, they are definitely not worried about being a communication risk taker. They're thinking about this, and you can like very likely get some speech or sounds out of them.
Yeah. It's so cool. And I remember when Dave Hammer, who I wrote the apraxia book with, he was the one who told me with Ned, when you reach in, add ew to the front. So it's ew, boo.
Oh, I love it.
Ew,
that's a good idea.
Shark.
Yeah.
Ew, chair. Because it is gross when you reach in someone's ear or up someone's nose. But that ew, it allows you to work on prosody, which for our parents who are here, that is the melody of speech. Okay. And we know based on the definition of childhood apraxia of speech that prosody is impaired in apraxia. So we want to work on apraxia when, Laura? When do we wait to work on apraxia? When do we start working on apraxia?
Prosody right away. Right
away.
Right away.
Yeah. You don't wait till they're like, till they have 50 words or putting 2 words together. You begin working on prosody immediately because that melody of speech we already know is going to be a struggle. So we want to start that early. So we love Ned. I don't use the weird stuff that comes with Ned. I prefer to fill it with objects that are related to the child's syllable shapes or speech targets in some way, or at least that build vocabulary that is actually useful and can be, repeated outside of speech therapy.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, excellent. I think we have concluded the game. So I think the rest is going to be toys for me, but it's your turn, so you go.
Okay, I'm going to show you something kind of weird. And I grabbed this at the last second. I'm like, people are going to kind of think I'm a lunatic, but I keep old phones. Does anybody even still have a phone like this? Like, I mean, this is from my office from like 15 years ago. But I, as kids get older, I'm not saying I do a ton of this with toddlers, but certainly with preschoolers, when I want them to take a turn, instead of me saying say, or I just love putting the echo microphone. So I might say, maybe our target word is, baby. So I might go, baby.
They love
and if I put
it
in front of their mouth, yeah, they know baby. Well, what I found is if I have 2 phones and I put the phone to my ear and the child has a phone in front of them and I say baby, or maybe I hand them the phone, it is so fun to watch kids, because kids today were born into the digital age. Kids today don't typically know, haven't seen this. And when they figure out this is a phone, they are pretty mesmerized. So I love, even if you have an old cell phone, the whole idea is talking into it. It's not connected to anything. But I will tell you, kids think it's pretty cool. And on an unrelated note, if you have preschoolers and you're trying to teach them like their phone number, their mom's cell phone number, this is a great way to practice it, right? Because the numbers are, the buttons are bigger than, it's a 1900s relic. Isn't that the truth? This is how old I am, is, I know what this is. I mean, and, I know a lot of kids today would have no idea. So I have several old phones and I have several old cell phones that I've removed the battery from, and recycled the lithium battery, but have the old cell phones, because I find kids understand that's what we're talking on, so you can use a phone or an echo microphone or a megaphone at home, you guys. That's called a paper towel tube. So if you just keep those kind of like, have a bunch, I tell parents, don't ever recycle or get rid of your paper towel tubes. You should have a bucket full of them so you can march around the house. Or saying, sounds or whatever, but it's also great for verbal turn taking with older kids, so they know when it's their turn to talk.
I don't have a paper towel, but the other thing I like to do with a paper towel, this happens to be a boom whacker. If you know what those are, you don't need to go out and buy these guys. It's just what I had around here that looks like a paper towel order right now. But is to work, a lot of my children as they get older, or even when they're younger, they have a hard time sustaining phonation. Especially true with my older children with autism. They tend to be just kind of really robotic and not being able to sustain it. And so this is one way I teach it, is we want it coming out like the whole length of it. And it gives them a nice visual. So instead of me trying to explain to them, hey, you guys, instead of, I need you to sustain phonation, this gives me a visual representation for them in which to do it. So I don't want you to stop saying until our finger hits the end of the paper towel roll. So anyway, yeah, paper towel rolls. Love it.
Love it. Perfect. Perfect. Okay, so what do you have next for us, Laura?
Okay, so this is definitely a favorite. You have it too. This was on both of Carrie and I's list. Is a dollhouse.
Oh.
God, or even a little. This happens to be a little people house that I have. Which one do you have? Let me see.
So I didn't grab the house because it's too big, but I have the Fisher Price Loving Family is what it's called.
Cute.
And so yeah, you tell us about yours and then I'll show you some of my stuff.
Yeah, so definitely this does come with sound. So, but there's always options to turn the sound off, which I usually will do. Or if you do have the sound, I think I might have the sound on in this one. Oh yeah, I do. But I mean, there's just so many things and it's relevant to a child's everyday life. So ding dong, knock, 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 knock. I mean, kids will play this knock, knock forever. Like, how many people are coming over to the house? Who knows? It could be 20. It could be 30. They don't care. Pack the people in this house and we've got knock, knock every single time. Or we've got open every single time. Or we've got hi every single time. And yeah, just there's so much to do with this. Like, I could probably do a whole like workshop on it, but yeah, I mean, because then they go night-night, you know. There's another one, like everyone has to go night-night, baby goes night-night, sing rockabye baby. You can use your pause technique, singing songs that are relevant to anything related to nighttime. It has, the kitchen, it has eat, what are we gonna do? We're gonna eat, and then I set up the table like outside here, and like, oh, we're gonna go make a picnic and then eat. I mean, there's just so much. They have the potty. That's fun. I do leave the sound on for that because it's fun. I don't know. It's just hilarious. But it's definitely fun to make your own sound. They have the bathtub, bubbles. There's just so much. I mean, and then I haven't even got the people out yet. So anyway, yeah, this is a favorite in my office. It's always out in the open, up high for kids to pick, and they frequently do. It's just a favorite.
Very good. So since I have the dollhouse from when my daughters were young, and my daughters are now 22 and 23 years old. So it's a big Fisher Price loving family dollhouse, but I don't use the dollhouse necessarily with the little ones. What I use is the furniture and the people.
Yeah.
So
here's
the bed.
Table is good too.
Right. So that everybody can go night-night. This comes with the bathtub, which is, of course, every kid loves.
Love the bathtub.
Wash and water and bubbles.
Yes.
I always tell parents, these come in rooms. So you can buy the playground, you can buy the kitchen, you can buy the bathroom. I think they've ruined them by making everything make a noise. I really prefer kids not to focus on pushing buttons. But for this one, and so there's all these different people. So here's the brother, and maybe we call him Bubba, or maybe, we're working on the brother's name. So the kids love the slide. There's baby cribs. You can buy the nursery. So there's baby, and the baby's going night-night. There's food, there's puppies and kitties. The fireplace is hot fire. I mean, you guys, I'm not kidding when I tell you this is just the tub of furniture, but I have like a huge tub. This is just the stuff that I tend to use to work on, a repetitive speech and language. So I am a huge fan of dollhouse people and furniture, even if you don't end up getting the house. But let me show you what I just bought. And you guys are going to think this Carrie.
Well, she does, but I just want to remind everyone that the thing is that when we're using toys and we're using games, how, we did another episode on how a speech therapist sets up a session or how they plan. You plan knowing what your targets are in mind. The rest is fluff. That's why I can have them pull anything down off my shelves, and I'm going to think on my feet and say, okay, their targets are this. How am I going to fit this target into this play activity with this toy that they're enjoying?
Right. I love it. So this is a dollhouse I actually bought at World Market. I don't know. They just have a few toys at World Market, but I love the simplicity of it because it just comes with 4 pieces of wood. And I love that they've got like wallpaper kind of inside the pieces of wood. So the child can be creative. So there's 4 of these. And then and you can see I haven't even unwrapped all the stuff, but like everything's wooden. It's a little chair. There's the little bathtub. The people are little wooden people. And so there's mama and there's a dada and there's animals, there's a kitty. So I'm just kind of digging how simple it is, you know, that there's, I don't know, it's just an extremely unique dollhouse. I don't even know. I think it's from, I don't even know what the brand is. Egmont Toys, created in Belgium. It's from Belgium. Okay. So I don't know. Isn't it unique? And I love that there's windows so we can do peek, I see you. So I just love stuff like this where it's really about fostering creativity and imagination. There aren't any rules necessary to play. We can make it as repetitive as, you know, we want. And for young children, I think it's important that we start encouraging right brain play. We focus so much on rule-based play, playing, with toys that have definitive ending points like puzzles and shape sorters. Sometimes we should expect children to be able to play with something where there is no rule, you know, because what a lot of kids will do is play for 10 seconds and walk away. That's a problem. I mean, we need to work on sustained attention for creative and imaginative play. And I think the Dollhouse does a beautiful job of expanding that, because these items, whether they're wooden or whether they look more like the real thing, these are objects that are familiar to kids in the natural environment. So it's not like we're introducing something brand new. Hopefully most kids have seen a bathtub, you know, most kids have seen a chair and a sink. And, you know, so for me, it's really great for making it relevant to the everyday life of the young child. So huge fan of dollhouses. I wish they would stop making everything pink and purple. We need to move away from gender biases. Seriously, gender biases in toys is just a huge no-no. And I no longer will purchase toys. That's why I like toys like this, where I'm like, okay, it's green and purple. Nothing about that says that's for a girl, you know, or that's for a boy. I'm really anti-gender driven or gender specific toys. So I have learned how to become, you know, I say I'm a toy connoisseur, but part of that comes in, you know, purchasing toys that I think are, you know, going to really help support children, you know, regardless of their gender. So
Carrie, we got a good question here that I think that you'd answer fabulously. I could too. And I think she's doing it just for the benefit of parents. But the question is, what are some examples of targets that, oh, no, sorry, not that one. We'll talk about that in a minute. Can you talk about how bagless therapists can make a playhouse with what families have in their homes?
Oh, sure. And, you know, because as an early intervention provider, I don't bring in any of my magic toys, right? Because what I want is to empower parents to use their natural routines and their natural interactions with their child to support their development. So if we wanted to use what's already available in the natural environment, like a bookshelf is what we didn't, before we bought our daughters, we have, I could show you these pictures from one Christmas. We actually used an old bookshelf and took all the books off, and we created a Barbie house. Do you know what I mean? They each had one Barbie. They didn't have any Barbies, but we just used Kleenex boxes, like flipped them over for beds. And my husband and I got totally creative because we were really poor. I mean, I'm just gonna be honest with you. We had no money hardly to go out and spend. And we're like, let's just make a dollhouse. And so we used pieces of wood, like scrap wood. And my daughters thought it was the coolest thing ever. So you can use like Kleenex boxes. You can use containers from the kitchen, you know, like Rubbermaid containers or Tupperware containers, things like that. You can use, like, if you have, I don't know, you open a can of corn, you know, obviously throw the sharp lid away, but wash it out, dry it out, and then it can be a chair. You know, you can flip it over and it can be a chair. I love to use Kleenex boxes as vehicles. You know, you can tear the little plastic thing out and then put the people in it and drive it around. I use egg cartons, kind of. You can use that for like a bus or something. I don't know. You just have to kind of think about, what can I use? You look through your recycling, you look through, you know, toys that you already have, and try to figure out, you know, how can we use things that are already here. One of the things, and I don't have it here, but you know those old wooden clothespins? They're round. They're not ones you pinch, but my mom had a big tub of those. And she's like, I don't use these anymore. Do you want them? I'm like, oh, yes, I do. I used a Sharpie marker, and I just drew 2 eyes, a nose, and a mouth on them. And I put different facial expressions. So I put a surprise mouth, and I put a smiley face, and I put a sad face and a mad face with the eyebrows furrowed. And so we made people out of those. And so then they can walk, and, you know, so you can make people. It does require some creativity. But you can use what's available in the natural environment. And that's something that I believe wholeheartedly in is I don't ever want parents to feel like you need to go out and spend money to support your child's learning and development. But sometimes parents ask me, little Ashley's birthday is coming up. What should I buy her? And so it's in that regard
exactly.
when I would say,
So
well,
we come to you as like,
talk
and this
about,
is our job. So, we come to you as having these toys, but definitely, just by even pretend play and, symbolic play, there's all different types of play, you guys. Like, we could do a whole nother webinar on that. But I mean, having the idea that I can make a hammer a phone, or I can make a toilet paper holder a phone. That is actually this cognitive flexibility, and it's a higher level thinking for kids to reach and get to that level. And so you're not doing them a disservice by not having these commercially made toys that, yes, they're super fun. And of course, Carrie and I are excited about them and we're talking about them. But if you can make a toy into something else, even your commercially available toys, like I just said, what if I made this cookie thing a telephone and now we're talking? That requires imaginative play, pretend play. Honestly, this is something Ashlyn just could never get there, you guys. Like, she just, every once in a while, if Jace modeled, she got it. It's still a struggle. This type of play and abstract thinking is difficult for her. And so you guys aren't doing them a disservice by playing with random stuff around the house and pretending it's something else. Like, it does actually have a really good purpose and importance in developmental, the development of a child.
Right. And I just say, if you're going to go to the store and you need to buy some bowls for your child because you need plastic bowls, all I do is then, if I'm already going to buy them, I look for something that's intentional that could be a toy as well. So that's just kind of the way my brain works. And that's what I love so much about social media, is being able to share my ideas, because my brain works. And it's what I love so much about being a pediatric SLP is I love the creative side of it.
Exactly.
And I love, being able to see things and use them in ways that maybe they weren't intended to be used. And so that cognitive flexibility, while it is a challenge for a lot of our children, it is something we want to model.
Absolutely.
And it is something that we want to strive for.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just gonna comment on someone who is asking about what are some examples of targets that we plan. Go ahead and watch like some previous episodes of Uncorked. We talk about how and why we're going to plan target. Like, it was how the speech therapist gets ready for speech therapy. I think it was that episode. So I just wanted to direct that person to that episode of Uncorked. And then there's just a lot of good comments now of people showing how you can increase cognitive flexibility with other stuff around your house. So great to see that, you guys.
Good.
Awesome.
Wonderful.
Okay. Let's see. Whose turn is it?
I don't even know. Do you have something handy?
Yes, I think it's my last one. And Carrie isn't going to like it as much as I do. No, I'm just kidding. She'll be fine. But it actually is this GeoTrax train. Now, the reason I said Carrie won't like it is because it does make noise, and certainly there are trains that don't. But the reason why I like it is because it gives me the control. So first of all, I keep it in a bag. Like, this is an example of the pieces, for example. It's very easy to set up, but I can get lots of out, for example, or choo-choo out, or I do, you do, and practice that. So again, just like Honeybee Tree, that game, I can get a lot of speech practice in the setup. You have to push it either together or you have to snap it on. If I have S-Blend kids, it's snap, 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 snap every single time we go around. I can get push, I can get on. Again, what you use toys for, you come into a session knowing what your targets are and you adapt the toys to fit that target. And I'm telling you, you can get very creative. Like Carrie said, it might be a target that doesn't even have to do with a train. And we're doing it because it's so fun for the kids. So it has a station. You can use little people in the window, things like that. But what I really, really love is this. It has a remote control, this particular train. And yes, it does make noise, but I can control it. And so you go like this to make the train go. You go like this to make it stop. And so the kid, as long as I'm in control of it, they have, by the power of their words, they have the power to make the train go with me at the helm using the remote control. And so then it has a bridge and we can ready, set, tell me, gotta tell me, what are we gonna do? What's it gonna do? It's gonna, and they say, go, good. And then instant gratification, I push that thing forward, that thing starts moving, and it has a bridge where it can go up and go down, and it has a turn. So then you can expand it. It also has on the train, you can actually stop it. with a button. So if it's actually on the track and it's going, and I don't want to stop it with this, and because they might be doing it, because kids will drag it, right? Like, whatever, I don't need your remote, Miss Laura. I'm just going to drag this, you know. I can actually stop it. And then they have to, you know, they're like, what are we going to do? Where's it going to go? It's going to go up, sweet. Turn it back on. Boys less, well, and I know we just talked about gender neutral toys, but a lot of my boys tend to be the kiddos who love the train, and they like this remote is what makes it so magical.
Fabulous.
The other thing I will say too is it has a card that goes on the ends. It's somewhere in here, and then we can put. I happen to have Peppa characters on me because Peppa is a great CVCV that kids love. And she can go in the train, or anyone can go in the train. And then, like, you can think outside the box, really anything. If your targets are moo moo or nay nay, you could put that in the train. Or if it's Peppa, what else have I put in here? I put in Elmo. Anything in the train, because they love hauling. Just haul stuff in the train. It's super fun for kids.
Perfect. Excellent. So I have several little things left. We have a few minutes. So do you guys know these party poppers? I get these at like Party City or wherever your party stores. They're like $0.25 a piece. So this is the big one. And I know this seems crazy, but kids think this is the coolest thing ever. So you put it on a hard surface. Here we go. Pop. And so it's just pop. Now the little one will hit the ceiling. Like, I love this. Yeah. And I always say, when you go to Party City, pop, like that literally almost hit like my 10-foot ceilings. But you want to sit on the floor and play with them and make sure you don't get duds, because some of them are duds. So you want to flip them in. But what I love is little kids can't figure out how to turn these inside out. They can't figure out the motor planning of how you have to hold it. I mean, it's a lot, you know, and so I like that they have to say, help me, or, you know. So anyways, party poppers, you can buy them in different colors. If you're working with older kids who, kids love dice. I mean, and this is the number of repetitions for your speech targets. So you can get the big lawn dice. Kids love to stand up and roll these dice. So, you know, obviously they're hoping for a 1. You and I are hoping for a 6. You know, how many times you're going to say your target word. And what I love is that it allows them to actually, you know, they can count. I mean, they can say the word as they're touching the dots. So I love dice.
I will just add dice in speech therapy for my older kids. Once you get them to a point where they have to say something so many times, if you have one of those big dice on you, you literally can be doing anything, playing with a toy, playing with a game, reading a book. And when you want them to say a target word, roll the dice, and you have to say the word that many times.
It's perfect. Isn't it? And I don't know why, but just rolling the dice is fun for kids. They like it. And what I love is it allows them to feel a little bit of control. And let's be honest, we all like to be in control. So when you allow a child to determine how many times, or allow the dice to determine how many times they're going to say their target word, instead of you telling them, okay, tell me 5 times. This is what speech therapists tend to do. Let's do it 5 times. And I think kids, they find us so predictable then. And they're like, I don't want to do it 5 times, you know? So if they can roll and they get 6, they're happy because they did it, you know, instead of us telling them. Another thing I love is the abacus. I don't use this necessarily with toddlers, but this is 100 reps. I have one that has alligators and hippos on it, and it only has 40. And so I do, and it's got bigger, not, you know, it's for younger children. But what I like to do is maybe put the target, I just tape the target picture, and I use 2 rows for each target word. So that's 20 reps per each target. And I don't know why, I can't explain it, but just the child moving, I know it doesn't seem exciting as adults, but I promise you kids like it. And it just gives them something to do instead of just saying a word over and over and over and over again. So the abacus has wonderful.
Fruit, and so the fruit is kind of fun.
I love it. I love it. I also want to mention puppets. What I love, and I'm very particular about puppets because I want them to have a movable mouth. When I am working with autistic children or children suspected to maybe be on the autism spectrum, and I don't have great joint attention and I can't draw them in to see how I'm moving my lips and my tongue, I find puppets, sometimes they'll look at the puppet. So sometimes I just need kids to open their mouth. There are some toddlers who talk like this. And you're like, I don't even know how to assess that because there's no jaw movement. So I love oven mitts, you guys. I go to TJ Maxx here in the States, and it's an odd store. You never know what
I
you're
know,
gonna
it's so
find. But
true.
I find the craziest, all of these are from TJ Maxx. They're just oven mitts that happen to look like like animals. But even if you just go to your kitchen right now, parents, and pull an oven mitt out, even if it has nothing on it, it is a mouth. And that's what I want you to start using. You hold it next to your mouth when you want to show jaw movement. Just to get kids. And then one other thing I love to do, and I don't know that I have anything good to throw right now. I usually have these little soft balls. I don't know if this block is kind of hard, but I'll use this. I love to have kids, I'll have them feed this because have them feed. I have a little, bucket of objects, and I'll say, oh, he's hungry. He wants to eat. So here we go. Yum, 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 yum. And then we do this. Blah, and we just throw our tongue up, blah, blah, and even Laura's laughing. I mean, I've never, and I mean ever, worked with a child who didn't think the blah game was the funniest thing ever.
Hilarious.
And you can get back and forth where they're excited and they're feeding and you have joint attention and their focus is on you. And so I am a huge fan. When, as a professional speaker before the pandemic, I traveled almost every week, and I usually fly, but sometimes I live in Kansas City, Missouri. So when I speak in Iowa or Nebraska, or Kansas or Oklahoma, I drive. And so when I drive, I end up stopping at a lot of truck stops on the way because they're on the interstate. And I'm not kidding you. There are truck stops that have the best toys.
I know, we keep talking about how we need to do a road trip and just hit up random stuff and be like, oh my God.
Oh my
I would
gosh.
do this in therapy.
I'm in, Laura. And we'll do Uncorked every night from, we'll stop on our trip 2 or 3 times a day.
It'd
be the best thing ever. So I found this guy at a truck stop.
Oh,
now his mouth doesn't move, but I absolutely love.
Oh
boom.
my God.
He just pops out of there. And I'm like, it's a bear.
Boom.
Oh,
that's
and so
cute.
I don't even know. And his hands move so we can patty cake and we can clap and bye-bye. Ready, peek up. So I mean, again, I don't know. I'm just fascinated with toys that do nothing. I'm fascinated with toys that allow you to be creative and imaginative. Let me see, Laura, you have these on your list, but you haven't mentioned them, so I'm going to mention them.
I have it upstairs. I didn't bring it down here.
Right.
So yes, please mention it.
So these poppers, they're from a company called Hog Wild. If you get on Amazon, I have probably 6 or 7 of them. I think the pineapple popper is the cutest because it shoots straight up.
I have a pickle popper that shoots straight up.
Oh, I love the pickle. I haven't
because
seen
of
that one.
pickle too. Pickle.
And see, this is pineapple.
Yep,
Pineapple. Pineapple.
Good too.
Pineapple pop. Pineapple pop. Pineapple
Yeah.
pop. So it comes with, you want to invest in extra balls. This is the pirate. Pop, pop. And what I love is it requires bilateral, which means both hands. So for some of our kids, my son was never good with using both sides of his body together. My son had what I call a dangler. Let me show you what that looks like. So his helper hand would dangle to the side, and my son would do a puzzle like this, okay? And his helper hand. So what that tells us neurologically is that the hemispheres of the brain are not communicating with each other via the corpus callosum. So because I'm a therapist and I know this, I observed my son at a very young age with his dangler. And so everything I did for play, I wanted him to come to midline. The middle of your body is called the midline. So you want to see in play, you want your children coming to midline, crossing midline, and using both hands together. That's called bilateral integration. And you guys, it is absolutely essential for brain development. And I promise you, a lot of our apraxic kids struggle with bilateral integration. Okay, so you want to look for toys where at Target, Dollar Spot, and I'm sorry if you're from Canada because I know you don't have Targets there, but they sometimes at Walmart, they have cheap versions of these, but you can press them with one hand. And that irritates me so much because it takes away from me the brain aspect of it, right? So I want the Hog Wild brand. These are like $10. Remember, Laura, when I told you, did I tell you this or not? I can't remember now, that my favorite toy store is in the Denver airport.
Yes, I know.
Okay, so sometime I'm going to just fly to
Yes,
Denver.
and we're going to
do
an Uncorked there.
Yeah, we'll do an Uncorked, and I'll just fly back to Kansas City, okay? But they have every popper in that toy store at the Denver airport in the United terminal. I mean, they have every time I go, I buy a new one because I'm like, I've never seen. That's where I bought the pineapple popper. I'm like, who knew there was a pineapple?
Yeah, that
popper?
pineapple is fun.
He's so cute. So this is worth spending your money on. If you want to spend $10, please buy something like this. You know, don't buy a battery operated button pushing cause and effect toy. The toys Laura is talking about that have batteries, those aren't cause and effect button pushing toys. Those toys have power behind them. So I'm talking about, let me just grab one. Laura, you say something.
Okay, while she's doing that, with those poppers that she was just talking about, she had the pirate and the pineapple. I have like a pickle and a pig and a dinosaur, I think, and a monster. But what I do is I take Solo cups and we line them up and we make like a little tower. And in making the tower, it's super fun. Solo cups are, you know, like easily like made to like fall down. And so you can get a lot with that. Like, so building the tower for the Solo cups, you can get up, you can get on, you can get cup up, cup on, get all of this, build the tower, and then you take the popper and you pop the ball at it and all the Solo cups go falling down. Like, it's so fun. Kids love it.
Love that. So this is the kind of toy I'm not a fan of. This cause and effect button pushing toy. This toy annoys me the most because when you push this button and it's a picture of a blue dog, and so when you push it, it says blue dog. And you push it again, it says woof woof. And you push it again, it says blue dog. And you push it again, it says woof woof. And I'm like, okay, first of all, if you're going to teach my little kid anything at all about a dog, why are you teaching him that it's blue? Like, nothing annoys me more, you know, than that. I'm like, but then what's the point of the toy? Because here's what most kids do. They push the button, and if it sings Old MacDonald, here's what they do. Old MacDonald had a farm. E-I, Old MacDonald had a Old Mac, 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 Old Mac.
So true. Yeah.
That's what I want to do with toys like this. Don't waste your money on crap. Please don't buy VTech toys. We don't need that. What we need is monster bowls. And look at this cute thing. Can I show you this? I found this at Walmart, and it's just a little, it's like a keychain bag.
So adorable.
Check it out. Can you guess it's a dinosaur? So guess what's in here? All my mini dinosaurs. Dino, baby dino, mama dino. You can put this in your diaper bag. You can give your kids something other than the cell phone when you're at, you know, the bank waiting or at the restaurant waiting. But this is how my brain works. When I'm out of the store, I'm like, oh, look at that little container to keep my baby dinosaurs in. Or, you know, I mean, I don't know. That's just kind of how my brain works. The last thing I have, Laura, and then we can wrap up, is I mentioned blocks. And I'm just going to be honest with you. My favorite blocks are these very old fashioned. I mean, these are like the Melissa and Doug ones. They come in a wagon, which I love, so kids can pull the wagon around. But I love these because they have letters on them. Not that I want to teach the alphabet per se, but E. We can work on speech sounds, you know. So here's D, you know, and here's K. So I love that we can do sounds just in isolation, just to see if they're stimulable for those sounds. But then look at all the vocabulary. There's a tree, and oh, there's a hammer. Boom, boom, boom. And here's a butterfly. Fly, fly away. So as we're stacking, we're building vocabulary. We can get repetitive speech practice with up, up, up. Here's the ice cream cone. You know, so I'm telling you, I think these are worth their weight in gold. I love the old blocks with the letters and the pictures. Some of them, you know, like there's the numbers. How old are you? That's right, you're 2. Round lips, 2. So as you're stacking these, look, there's another 2. There's another 2. That's where the repetitive speech practice comes in, is that you want to have a couple sets of blocks, you know, or in that set of blocks, they're going to repeat themselves. That's what we love. That's what we want, right? Absolutely. Is we want to provide opportunities for that repetition, but in a fun, in an engaging, in an interesting, and in a motivating way.
Absolutely. Fun. So what do you think, guys? If you like this episode, I would just like to see you heart it or love it. Let us know if this was fun for you. It's fun for us. I mean, but we're total nerds.
Yeah, obviously.
We're like really nerds.
Maybe more fun for us than them, Laura. I'm like, maybe we're too excited about this. I don't know. But we thought this might be helpful. We hope it was helpful to know, you know, to show you how we play with a purpose, and that as speech language pathologists, we do not ever just play.
No.
If you're new to the program and you don't know, on my website, carrieeberseminars.com, I have created a bunch of free handouts. And one of the ones that I created last week that is very popular is, why does my child just play in speech therapy? And I think it's really important because I don't think speech therapists are necessarily the best at explaining how young children learn best, which is through play that is relevant and meaningful to their life. So if you are a parent, a grandparent, a teacher, if you're an SLP and you would like to have a way to explain why you do what you do, then please print this out, because it really is important to understand that very young children don't learn the same way that older children and high schoolers and adults learn. You can't expect to sit a 3-year-old or a 4-year-old or a 5-year-old down and do repetitive speech, you know, a drill work with flashcards for 30 minutes straight. I know that's what parents want, you know, and that's sometimes what they think speech therapy is. So make sure as a provider, as a clinician, that you are explaining one of the principles of motor learning is that motivation, right? That pre-practice piece, that if the child is not motivated to work on talking tasks, you're basically wasting your time. I mean, that literally is the first step, according to the principles of motor learning. So Laura and I talked about, in one of our handouts, we had, I don't even know what is I don't know what how the SLP prepares for apraxia therapy. And the very first thing was, make sure the child has the proper attention, motivation, and has imitation, right? Those are prerequisites to doing motor learning, motor planning therapy. So SLPs, the onus is on us to make sure the child is ready for this type of therapy.
And you guys, I mean, I will get a fair amount of parents that ask me from time to time. Luckily, I haven't had it recently, but is it normal for my kid to be crying in speech therapy? Like, and the therapist just being like, gotta do it. You need to do this or you don't get to play. Like, this is what you have to do. I'm like, okay, if a child is crying, if you're crying as a parent in any situation that you're in, is it going to be effective? Whatever anyone's trying to, no. And children are just little versions of humans. And if they are in a distraught place, or if they are crying, no. Like, I don't know how else to put it. Your children should not be crying in speech therapy. I actually don't care the age. I don't care if we've got a 2-year-old. I don't care if I have a 12-year-old. If the kid is crying, something is amiss, and we have to revamp and go back and figure out why, because it's not going to be effective.
That's exactly right, Laura. That's the best point you probably made, you know, this whole evening. So what I want to end with is this: as long as there is joy in learning, children will always love to learn. But if you pluck the joy out of learning and start making this about drill work and you have to be compliant and all of this, then the joy is gone. And I promise you, you are spinning your wheels and you are wasting everybody's time. Okay. So it's about joy. It is about connection. Those are the two most important things. And so, yes, learning to talk when you have apraxia of speech is hard. Okay, absolutely. Nobody is negating that. But the SLP is responsible, and we are going to coach parents to be responsible for being a sensitive communication partner. And what that means is we push, push, push. And the minute we sense significant enough frustration that the child's going to shut down, what do? We pull back. It is ebb and flow. This is what we do, and you must be highly skilled at this to be effective. And I think that's what differentiates or separates the good clinicians from the excellent clinicians, is being sensitive and knowing when it is time. Because in speech therapy, you're always doing one of two things, guys. You're either teaching a new skill and practicing a new skill, or you're repairing the relationship. Those are the two things you are doing, and it should be this equal balance. Push, 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 pull back, push, 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 repair the relationship. We're trusting again. We're going to move forward. We're going to move. Oh, I sense it. And I don't know how to teach this.
I don't think you can. It really is like you have to. How you can teach it, though, definitively, is if a child is crying, you're doing something wrong. It's not the child's fault that they're crying. Something you're doing as a therapist created this problem. Like, so that we definitely can teach.
And if the child starts averting eye gaze and starts looking away and starts walking away or hides under the table, all behavior is communication.
absolutely.
So what is that child saying to you? Without words, they're saying, you are pushing me too hard. This is too hard for me. I can't cope with this. This is too demanding. And so we need to always consider the child's optimum challenge point. And that is just a really important concept that skilled clinicians are good at. And we need to coach parents how to make sure you don't push your child beyond the point of no repair, which is complete meltdown mode. Because once they get there, it's over. It's done. You're not going to pull them back. And then they don't trust you. And then you're going to have to turn this child into a communication risk taker again. Because once they lose trust in you and your process, nothing you do in the future is going to work. So it's that relationship between you and the child is the number one most important component of speech therapy.
Carrie, can I just ask one question to the followers and then we'll go? I just want to know what times you guys feel Uncorked is best for you. So right now we've been doing it at 6 Mountain Standard, so 8 Eastern. Do you guys like that time, or did a later time feel better to you, or an earlier time? I just personally want to get a sense for what people are thinking is best for them. I know a lot of parents like watching once their kids go to bed, so maybe later is more preferable.
We didn't have nearly as many people on tonight
to me.
as we
So that's why I'm
do.
trying to figure out why.
Yeah. And we also, of course, want to know if the information is helpful. I mean, Laura and I are just giving our time, our time. If this isn't really that helpful, I mean, we want to know that too. We don't, want to waste anybody's time. So everybody so far is saying it's a great time. It's possible that some people just forgot or
that one night when Biden was speaking, we had to compete with the president.
That was so funny. I don't know that we can ever compete with, the president of the United States. But so far, everybody said this works for me. But it's because they're on here, so obviously they like this
that's
time.
True. So maybe when people are, if you're watching this after, feel free to still comment. Carrie and I go check it out like in a couple days and see what else people said.
Yeah, I just wonder about people on the West Coast because it's 5 p.m. when we start.
Right, and that's like dinner time. You're in the thick of it.
Getting home from work. Yeah. Of course, it's good on the East Coast. I think the East Coast people have it best because it's 8 p.m. Now, for some people, that's prime bedtime. Anyways, just know Laura and I try to be flexible. I mean, we're just trying to make this work. And again, we just want it to be beneficial. We don't want to waste anybody's time. We just feel like there isn't a lot out there of support for SLPs and parents in an informal way. And that's why we're doing it this way. We just want to have conversation. Since Laura and I are not able to go out in the real world and speak to humans, this was something to help our mental health as well. I, as a professional speaker who used to travel 45 weeks a year, I haven't been to the airport in 13 months now. Yeah, so my life has been really just turned upside down. So I'm just, in case you didn't know, I have 2 offerings. They're both completely full. So I may add a third, but I'm doing a parents webinar, actual 1-hour webinar for parents and caregivers on childhood apraxia of speech, what parents need to know. So they're both sold out. They'll be one of them will be recorded and offered as, so you can purchase it and watch it on your own. But since I sold out the first one yesterday and put a second date on, and it sold out within a day. So that tells me parents are craving information. Is that right? I mean, if you're a parent on here, are you craving information? Because Laura and I are happy to keep doing this, if it's beneficial to you guys. So we just need to know, we need feedback. We need, you guys to share it. We need to know that, because again, it's an hour away from our family, which, we are fine with, because we are extremely passionate about this. If you can't tell,
gosh,
Laura and I are extremely passionate. So our thought was that next week we're going to do one more week on this topic, but we're going to do books and how we use books to support repetitive speech practice. Does that sound good for you guys?
Yeah,
I know you're like,
let's see what they say.
Whatever you want.
And Carrie, maybe we can talk about just varying the times, like to support, because it is, I think what's nice is that, people can interact with us. Like, for example, I can look at the comments and ask a question. Like that's the benefit of joining us live, is that you get a live response from us.
Right.
So I'd like to give everyone, and you're right, on the West Coast, that's going to be super tough to have a 5 o'clock
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe 1 week, you guys just keep this in mind. We may try to do an hour later just for our West Coast, families, so that they maybe can participate occasionally. Again, I think the good thing is Facebook naturally records this. So people can always go,
nice.
back and watch it. But yeah, I think that, and one thing I would love to know is I've had a lot of parents I just see on here saying craving information, craving information. Are you getting from your speech language pathologist? Are you getting the information, or do you feel like they're not sharing enough with you? Because really, this is a really important role of the SLP, is to educate and empower parents. And I am just curious how much coaching is going on and how much parents are getting on that topic. Like Laura said, her sessions, when she's in person, the parents are there. I would never do a session without a parent present, or a nanny, or a grandparent, somebody, because it really doesn't, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, what matters is that the parents know what to work on between speech therapy sessions. So for me, that's the most essential thing. Because I work with toddlers, it can be really hard to get a toddler to perform on command when I'm there. Maybe I'm there and he's tired, or maybe he has gas, or maybe he's got an ear infection. So if I try to make a toddler perform on command, it may not go well. And so what I want to make sure is that when I leave, is that family feels empowered to know what strategies to embed into their daily routine. So I am extremely passionate about parent coaching, and about, I always say this, the most powerful way to empower an adult is to educate them.
Yep.
There is no better way to empower an adult. So this is what Laura and I are trying to do, is to provide education on a topic that is complex, that is not very well known about, and is not well taught to speech language pathologists at the graduate level. It's just not. So, yeah, so we appreciate the feedback you guys are giving us right now. I'm certainly reading
I'm reading it too, you guys.
up.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I appreciate it. Some of them go fast. I didn't see what that just said, but Laura and I go back and read the comments.
Yeah.
So make sure you comment, even if you're watching this as a recording. It's important to us. So we will, every Monday is when we post our kind of graphic, about our next Uncorked. So on Monday, make sure you double check the time. Laura and I will talk. We may decide to do an hour later, maybe not. I don't know, but just know that you always want to check the time so that you don't miss it if you want to join us live. So thank you for being here.
Thank you,
Laura,
everyone.
Yeah, we appreciate it. So thank you. And we will see you next Thursday. Bye.
Bye, guys.